think I ended my last video confused about combat, mostly because the game doesn't tell you, at least in the book, what to do with this combat deck for the monsters that determines what their fighting stance is. So I just went ahead and made something up. It does clearly say that there's one movement card, and the distribution of the combat deck for monsters is the 0 card, which is the Fool, and then the numbers 11 through 21. So it seems it seems workable to me that the Fool, the 0 card, is the movement card, so I did that. And then I just thought about what's kind of an interesting distribution. The potential stances for the monsters is standard, attack, and defense. So with 11 cards, you can't split them equally. So I decided that it would make the most sense to me, and just the way I want to play, that I think 5 of them, 5 would be standard, and then the bottom 3 would be defense, and the top 3 would be attack. So that's the way I played. Maybe different in the actual game, but it allowed me to get through the combat. So what happened in my combat, I played it through off camera because I didn't know if it would be a complete mess, but it ended up kind of working out. So what happened in my combat is, again, I was facing an enraged beast, a weirdness enraged beast. So it's a group of predators. I went with boars. Boars are not really predators, but I didn't want to use wolves because that's the obvious one. Heathen has mentioned to us why that's not a great idea. I always have that be the base concept. Anyway, the idea that they're enraged by weirdness doesn't really matter. It just need to be something somewhat dangerous. So I said maybe it's like a pack of 5 or 6 boars or something like that, weirdness enraged. So here are their stats here: health, defense, combat potential, attack, damage. So the first thing that you do is you draw a fighting stance card for them. So I drew, I think, a 19, the sun here. I think it was this one exactly. So that put them in attack stance. And what that does is you add their combat potential to their attack value. So that's 6. And then you subtract it from their defense. So also 6. So they were 6 defense and 6 attack this turn. But the downside is, because I'm in the weirdness effect, since I'm in level 2 weirdness area, the persistent effect in this territory is that creatures are more dangerous, or everything's more dangerous. So it's +4 attack. So it had 10 attack and 6 defense, which is quite a bit more than it would normally have. Thankfully, Maeve is a relatively good combatant, so I think I just saw someone on Discord giving a response about complaining about the same thing, about the book not having the tactical deck. But anyway, Maeve has 10 and 10, so I could also choose to do defense or attack, which would modify it by my combat potential, which is 1. But I decided, since the boar's total attack was going to be 10, my defense is 10, I was like, let's just leave it. So I went with the standard attack. I drew so then after you determine the fighting stance for the enemy, then you draw a card from the D10 deck for your attack based on your stance. I drew a 7, the Chariot. So that did 17 damage, reduced by the monster's defense, which was, 6. So it took 11 damage, had 15 health, so it was down to 4. Then it went, and unfortunately it drew a 9, the Hermit. So added on to its 10 attack, that was 19 total damage, but I had a defense of 10. So that meant I took 9 damage out of my 15. So that's, thematically, I got pretty gored up by these animals. I mean, it doesn't even say what type of weapon I have. I have no items, so I assume I had some sort of makeshift weapon or something that I brought with me. But that knocked them down to 4 health. I had taken 9 damage, so 6 health left on me. So I only had to do 4 more health, in order to finish them. And my attack is already 10, so really it seemed like it was pretty much a foregone conclusion. So the next step of the combat is we go back to the next phase, draw the, so something interesting here is when the enraged beasts, their special condition is when they get down to less than half of their health, you remove the offensive stance cards from their fighting deck and bring the movement card back into the deck. I forgot to mention at the start of the combat, you take that one movement card out. What the movement card does is it means if you draw it at any time, the enemy flees, basically. So, kind of makes some thematic sense. They're weirdness enraged. They just come in and there's no chance that they're going to flee in the first round. But once you damage them quite a bit, then they essentially get much weaker. They become a lot more cautious. They lose their offensive stance. They get a -3 penalty to attack, and the movement card gets shuffled back in. So essentially, it's actually more likely that they'll run. So I did my attack. Oh no, actually, so before I attacked, I drew their fighting stance, and sure enough, you know, I don't know, 1 out of 8 chance or something like that, I drew the fool. So that meant that they fled. So I think it says here, if it's a movement stance, the creature will try to want to run away in its turn. Oh, okay, I actually made a mistake then. I had it run away immediately, but it says it will try to run away in its turn. So during the creature's turn, the creature would have escaped. So maybe I can play this out again instead. It doesn't actually matter, and I'll show you why in a second. But let's say it didn't run. So if I did my attack, then, I mean, I don't think there's any way I wouldn't kill it. 3 plus my attack of 10, even if I'm doing a standard attack. Its defense is 8. Actually, I should have been more careful there. Probably done an attack stance because could have potentially not taken 4 damage. But 13, so it takes 5. So that means I defeated it on my turn. So it was trying to, they were trying to run away, and I attacked and defeated them. What's interesting here is when I looked at what happens at the results of combat. So if you defeat it before the end of the 5th round, then you get a success and you get a treasure. I was really frustrated that I thought it ran. But the funny thing is, if they run, it's still a success, and you get a minor treasure. So the enraged beast, the treasure is a minor treasure. So either way, if they ran away or I defeated them, it's the same outcome. A success with a minor treasure. So then I did the treasure portion, where's the treasure? There's a section here about him doing treasures, which I think is in discovery events. Treasure, it's on page 71. So the way treasure works is they need to adjust these. It said page 71, but it's on page 73. So the way it works is you do a D10 draw on whatever relevant treasure. There's minor treasures, medium treasures, etc. And I drew a 5, so I got common weapon or protection, which is great because I need some gear. And then it says here, so in this game there are common weapons or armor, and then there's exceptional, which give you like a +1 or +2 on the value of the thing. So it says, if the results of common or exceptional weapon or protection, go to the corresponding table, depending on the treasure type, and draw a new card. This kind of confused me, because it says the common or exceptional weapon or protection, you go to the corresponding table. So I was searching around for a common or exceptional weapon table, but what it means is go to the weapons and protections table for the minor, medium, or major treasure that you got. There's a weapons and protections table for each of the 3 types. So minor weapons or protection. And yeah, this also is not great because, well, yeah, there's an exceptional weapon. It's just that it's not very clear writing, because it says if it's a common or exceptional. Okay, I guess it makes sense. Anyway, I was confused by it for a second, but minor weapons and protections. So I did it again, and unfortunately I got a brush hook, which is the weakest weapon possible. It's actually equivalent to a dagger. So here's the weapons table. You can see short weapons down here, I have actually very high combat skill, so I could use something much better. But basically these different weapons just give you a bonus in damage when you're doing your attack. So the short weapons give you 1 damage. I actually don't know how ranged weapons work, if there's some benefit to that or if it just is more damage. So I got a brush hook. If I wanted to make this narratively, how would boars have a brush hook? Perhaps they had gotten in a fight with a farmer. You know, they're weird, enraged sort of zombie animals, and one of them had like a brush hook embedded in it. So I just retrieved that as a like basic rudimentary weapon and brought it along with me. So I add that to my character sheet, brush hook 1 damage, and we're ready to go. That was the combat. I get a success because I defeated them. I would have also gotten a success if I had run away. And I've just been recording this in a different place here, so I'll just note I have 1 success now in combat. I was writing, but you know, writing is sloppy. I can't even read my own writing afterward. Okay, so that was finishing an actual combat. So maybe I'll call this one here. This is just a demo of combat. I'm going to try to play through the end of the song. I think I've given an example of intrigue. I will come back on camera if I get an actual like custom event there for each of the discovery. The 3 different types: discovery, intrigue, and combat. There are all the face value things have like, you know, you encounter a companion or have these different like custom events. So, but maybe I'll stop this one here and I'll come back if I complete the song and say how that goes.